Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, I'm going to share my thoughts on the Fermi Paradox, which is basically where is everyone? This came from Enrico Fermi, who's a famous physicist, and basically in 1950-ish, the story is that he was having some lunch with some co-physicists and scientists, and basically asked this question of, if the universe is full of life, then where is everyone? And it's a really interesting question. So kind of the first thing to think about a little bit is that we're born into a populated world. Continents are explored. There's, a lot of the lands have been discovered, thoroughly. To the point where when you do think you're in some place that's people have never been before, that you might see some candy wrappers or aluminum cans or something and be like, oh, I guess people, were here. So it's just kind of an interesting thing. Now, the oceans haven't been explored as much, but overall, we're kind of just born into a populated world. And that was kind of Enrico's point, was that it should look more like Star Wars or Star Trek, where you're just born into it's just everywhere. I mean, just how things are. And there's some subtleties to it that I'll go through here. So first, I want to zoom out a little bit, out to kind of the galaxy scale and kind of get a little bit further out. And one of the things that I've realized is that, or at least what I think, is that in the beginning, life kind of has this path. So here I have a graph to show, here's life going up and over time, time of the universe, basically. And this first part is really just talking about like basic life. Like today, we have yet to discover a planet, an exoplanet that has clear signs of bacterial life or microbial life. And I think it's only a matter of time before that becomes common. And what I mean by that is today it's zero, just like it was, not that long ago. We had yet to prove that there was, another exoplanet out there. It was zero for a long time. And now, we realize, okay, planets are like in abundance, and so I kind of think once we get down the techniques, that this, kind of discovering lots and lots and lots of planets, will happen. And this dot here is kind of where I put us. And what I think, when I think about the Fermi Paradox, one of the things that I think is that there's kind of a really basic, almost boring answer to it. And the answer, I believe, is that we are just really early as a civilization, that's gotten as far as we've gotten. It's just really early in the in the expansion. So that's kind of that's a big part of the answer. And if we zoom in here, this is kind of what I'm saying, is that there's this ramp up, and then this is kind of what I would just describe as basic microbial life. Like there can be tons and tons of that out there in the universe. And then complex life, starts on this ramp, that, leads to, something like us. And what I'm saying is that we are just here. Now, the reason why I kind of think that is kind of back to that, that we're born into a populated world. You could say that if we were born into a populated universe, which would be up here or even, here, it would just be obvious. It would just be the state of everything. And because we're not, and we're at the opposite, then I feel like this is down here. I want to give a shout out to a video that I watched recently. I think it was just last week on Cool Worlds, where they did an excellent job of breaking this down and really talking about kind of the two ends of the spectrum. I'm going to put a link to that in the description, because I thought it was spot on. It was an excellent video. Here's the other factor. So I have two major factors. The first factor that I went through is, let me try to get my cursor a little bit out of the way. There we go. The first factor is what I just went through, that it's just early. We're just early in the sort of like, we're one of the few first, intelligent and technological civilizations. The second factor is travel. And I think that, in our minds, we've all talked about, once you're sufficiently sophisticated and technologically advanced, that, traveling between stars is just going to be pretty basic, or it's just going to happen. And I don't agree with that. I actually think that traveling between stars is going to be brutal and going to be extremely difficult. And I think that's another factor that adds to this, is not only if we're early, but if space travel is horrendously difficult, even when you get lots and lots of technological advancements, moving that or making that possible, it's still very hard, because when you sit down and just look at the scale of the universe, it's just mind-boggling, the distances between things. And the whole idea of traveling faster and faster brings about, this kind of really common thing, is that it's hard to turn when you're moving really, really fast. And maybe we figure out a way around that. But, you could imagine plotting a course between 2 points that are really, really far away, hundreds, or let's say, I don't know, say 100,000 light years or something like that. And then you say, all right, now when you plot your course, make sure you don't hit any dust or anything, because, dust clouds and nebula are kind of everywhere. So you have to plot a course to make sure that you're not hitting anything, because there's a lot. Most of space is really, really empty, but it wouldn't take much if you're traveling super fast to make that so that you would, run into problems. So anyway, I just think that the number two factor is that space travel is just wickedly difficult. All right, so here's another sort of fact I just kind of wanted to put out there, or not necessarily a fact, just sort of it's kind of a thought experiment. Imagine if you just you said, okay, fine, if we're early in the process of life forming, what happens if we just make 3 copies of ourselves? Just basically take 3 Earths and say that they look a lot like us, and we just distribute those into the galaxy, kind of what that would look like. And one thing that's interesting is that, yes, there's biosignatures that have been coming from the Earth for a long time. Obviously that goes back, millions of years. But the thing is, as far as being like seeing signs of intelligent life, or technosignatures, we only have 129 years of radio that's gone out at the speed of light from Earth. And you would think, that should be way out there. Well, it's really not. If you kind of just take the scale of the universe and kind of just plot these 3 Earths around, you have these little teeny tiny bubbles of space, comparatively just to our galaxy. And so not even going further than that. Obviously the visible universe is currently way, way bigger than just our galaxy. But even if there were 2 other civilizations at the same sort of technical level as us, and we tried to find them in our own galaxy, you wouldn't be able to do it, because when you might be able to get biosignatures, maybe be able to see some of the spectra from chemicals that you could see in the light as it transits the star, but really it would be almost impossible to find that. Let alone looking into our galaxy is really difficult because we're inside of it. And when you look at it at John, there's lots of dust and everything else that can kind of make it really difficult to see. JWST helps with that, obviously, because once you move higher up into the spectrum, you can see through a lot of the dust, which is helpful. But anyway, it would be really, really hard. So, all right, so this wouldn't be a Fermi Paradox video if I didn't kind of throw in another idea. There's lots of videos on the YouTube that talk about all the different possible solutions to the paradox. This is one that I ran into that I thought was interesting. So, and the idea is really that what if there was a galactic level event, meaning something, the size of our galaxy, okay, something that was kind of, within our local group, but something really big happened. And this could be, millions of years ago, could be 1 billion years or 2 billion years ago, but there could have been this unavoidable galactic level event. Like imagine like several like large black holes that are all swirling around each other, and they're going to combine in a way that's just going to send out this massive amount of energy. And so the idea is that if something like that happened, and if it happened to actually look kind of like Star Wars, if you prefer, and basically different races were everywhere. If they knew about this and they knew it was unavoidable, they would say, we need to get out of here before, we need to get far enough away where the shock wave doesn't just, blow us away. And then the idea is that after that shock wave went out, life started to, find a way again, that the outside of that might be, now there might be basically races coming back in closer. But right now, that shockwave kind of pushed everybody out. Anyway, it's just an interesting idea, because if we did start to find within our solar systems, evidence of something that happened that was just like massive, that might help explain why, our neighborhood, is so empty. So that's just one idea. So I want to end with that. And basically, if you have any ideas on what you think, why we don't see anyone yet, please post below or make a comment. And thanks a lot for your time. Take it easy. Bye.